I'm a 32-year-old man who hasn't spoken to my father's family in over a decade, a rift that began when my father remarried. My parents split when I was 10, no longer in love, which left me confused and heartbroken as a child. I often acted out, and while family therapy helped, my mother was more empathetic, trying to understand my feelings, whereas my father took a more passive, life happens approach. This made me closer to my mom, and I only stayed with my dad for short periods. But when I was 14, my mother passed away in a tragic accident, forcing me to live with my father full-time. Those were some of the darkest days of my life, worsened by feeling like the only one grieving. My father was already engaged to Bate, a 49-year-old woman he'd been dating for years. He prioritized his new life with her over our shared past, showing no signs of sorrow for my mother's death. This left me feeling isolated as a teenager. Bate was overbearing, enforcing strict rules in their home and trying to act as a mother figure, which I rejected. She couldn't replace my mom so soon. To make matters worse, Bate openly favored her son from a previous relationship, Josh, now 30. She constantly pulled strings to get him advantages, like better spots on the football team or bigger roles in school plays. Josh, to his credit, often called out his mother's favoritism, but he still benefited from it, which created tension. My teenage years were tough, navigating my mother's loss, my father's passivity, Bate's overreach, and an awkward relationship with Josh. My plan was to keep my head down, get through college, and leave. I attended UNC in my home state, and to save money, lived with my father and Bate, paying some rent and contributing to groceries. Things escalated when I started dating Laura, now 31, during college. I brought her home often, and it became clear Josh had a crush on her. I confronted him privately, asking him to stop acting inappropriately, but his feelings persisted. His behavior spiraled. He was failing classes, struggling with SAT prep, and acting lovesick. I tried to be the bigger person, limiting Laura's visits to avoid conflict, but it wasn't my responsibility to fix his obsession. Eventually, I learned Bate had spoken to Josh about his behavior, and he confessed his feelings for Laura. Bate, in her twisted logic, blamed me for Josh's struggles and convinced my father to issue an ultimatum. One day, my dad sat me down and said, "We agreed you could stay here during college, but your actions are affecting Josh. Bate and I think you need to stop bringing Laura around to keep peace in the family." I was stunned, assuming he meant my friends or loud music. When I asked for clarification, he admitted it was about Josh's feelings for Laura, suggesting I break up with her for his sake. I laughed in disbelief. It was absurd. I told my dad, "You want me to end a great relationship because Josh can't handle rejection? I've already told him he's making Laura uncomfortable, and I barely bring her here anymore." The conversation turned into a heated argument. Bate clearly wanted to appease Josh, and my father went along with it. Furious, I chose Laura, packed my things, changed my phone number, and moved out. I stayed with a friend briefly before moving in with Laura, my then-fiancée. My scholarship covered college, and I worked hard to pay rent and bills. I cut all ties with my father's family, staying close only with my mother's relatives. 12 years later, Laura and I are happily married, love our careers, and recently bought our first home. We're even trying for a baby. Leaving that toxic environment was the best decision I ever made. But recently, Josh showed up at my house wanting to talk, which sent me spiraling into the past. I let him in, still in shock. We caught up briefly, and he already knew about my life, likely from social media. Then he explained why he was there. He admitted his obsession with Laura and Bate's role in escalating things, but claimed he never wanted me to leave. He said Bate seemed relieved when I left, and the house felt cold afterward. They moved out of state shortly after, which I didn't know. Josh felt guilty about my departure, had overcome his feelings for Laura but struggled mentally, falling in with a bad crowd, dropping out of college, and eventually leaving home. For years, he's been drifting, working odd jobs. He asked if I could help him settle in my area, perhaps by getting him a job where I work. I explained that would be tough without qualifications, but he insisted I owed him for abandoning him with our dysfunctional family, claiming we're still brothers. I'm torn. I don't think I owe him anything, but seeing him struggle is hard. Laura wants to maintain no contact with my family, but agrees we could help him somehow. Would I be wrong to cut off contact with Josh? Update 1. After reflecting, I decided to offer Josh temporary housing and encourage him to find work independently. I don't think we'll ever be close, but I don't owe him for his struggles. I did what was best for me. Update 2. A few months later, Josh is doing well. He's changed a lot, working as a junior manager at a local Walmart and attending night school for a degree. The money we gave him helped. I'm starting to want a relationship with him, but I can't shake his earlier claim that I owed him for leaving. My mom's relatives suggested confronting him. Update 3. I talked to Josh about why he shouldn't expect anything from me. He's matured and apologized for placing that burden on me, thanking me for the support. Laura's also warmed to him after he apologized for his past behavior. He's welcome in our home now, but we both still resent Bate and my father. I don't think I'm wrong here, and Josh isn't either anymore. Bate was the real issue, enabling his behavior. Josh says he's cut contact with them, but I'm cautious. Bate's influence is hard to escape. We're both working through the trauma of our parents' actions. My husband, Michael 32M, and I 30F attended my best friend Sarah's 30F baby shower yesterday. Sarah and I have been close since college, bonding as roommates over our shared love of music. We went to concerts, spent summers together, and became inseparable by our senior year. After college, I landed my dream job at a top law firm, while Sarah pursued a career in social media, unsure about traditional work. Despite our different paths, we always made time for each other, hiking, dining out, or just hanging at home. I met Michael during one of our girls' nights out at a bar. He was at a friend's bachelor party, and we instantly clicked, falling deeply in love. We've been happily married for 5 years, and I often thank Sarah for dragging me to that bar. Sarah stayed single for a while before meeting Mark, her husband, and they celebrated their 2nd anniversary this year. When Sarah announced her pregnancy 3 months ago, I was thrilled for her and excited to see her start this new chapter. As the baby's godmother, I was honored to plan her baby shower, choosing a yellow theme, her favorite color. I worked closely with the caterer, someone I'd used for my brother's wedding, to ensure everything was perfect. On the day of the shower, Michael and I arrived early to set up. Mark greeted us, saying Sarah was still getting ready. I adjusted the cake to be centered as Sarah wanted, and soon guests arrived, including old college friends we hadn't seen in years. It was great catching up. Sarah entered in a vibrant yellow dress, glowing with excitement. The lunch was delicious, and everything seemed perfect until Sarah stood to speak. She thanked everyone for coming, then said, "I'm so excited to share that Mark and I are expecting our first child, and I have someone special to thank." Pointing at Michael, she announced, "Everyone, meet the father of my baby." I nearly choked. The room went silent, everyone stunned. Michael, who hates attention, gripped my hand tightly, looking as confused as I was. All eyes were on us, and the silence was excruciating. For context, Michael and I have struggled with infertility for years due to medical issues. Only a few close people, including Sarah, know this. We've accepted we may not have children and focused on our life together. Sarah's claim hit hard, especially knowing our struggles. Tears welled up, but I held them back. Then Sarah laughed, saying it was a prank for her Instagram with cameras recording our reactions. Some guests laughed nervously, but the mood was tense. Michael's face was red, and I could tell he was humiliated. Mark, Sarah's husband, looked upset, not amused, and even apologized to Michael. I didn't want to confront Sarah and ruin her day, so I tried to move on, but the unease lingered. Michael wanted to leave after lunch, but I convinced him to stay to avoid drawing attention. During games and gift opening, Sarah seemed oblivious, chatting and snapping photos for social media. Meanwhile, Mark grew visibly upset. He pulled Sarah outside, and their conversation was audible to everyone. Mark was furious, saying, "How could you do this? They're our best friends, and this isn't a harmless joke. You embarrassed me and ruined our baby shower." Sarah insisted it was just a prank, but Mark told her to grow up. The room grew silent again. Michael, unable to take it, left for the car. I felt for Sarah, but knew Michael needed me more. Mark, seeing Michael leave, told Sarah, "I'm done with your immaturity. I'll love our child, but I can't be with you anymore." Sarah broke down crying, and Mark stormed out. Shocked, I left without saying goodbye to Sarah, not wanting to confront her then. At home, Michael was devastated. We couldn't believe Sarah thought such a prank was funny. Mark texted us an apology, saying he had no idea about the prank and felt terrible. The next morning, Sarah sent me multiple texts, claiming the prank was due to pregnancy stress and meant to go viral. She didn't understand why we were upset and asked me to take her to a doctor's appointment. Angry, I told her the prank was cruel and made us uncomfortable, saying I needed space and couldn't help her that day. Sarah called me a bad friend for abandoning her. Michael suggested cutting contact until she apologizes, and I agreed. I sent her a final message, demanding an apology and threatening legal action if she posted the video. Sarah refused to apologize, accusing me of jealousy over her pregnancy. She claimed she wouldn't post the video, but insisted I help her since Mark hadn't come home. Hurt by her callousness, I blocked her. Part of me feels guilty for not supporting my pregnant friend, but I'm also relieved, even glad, that Mark left her after her stunt. Update 1. It's been a week, and Sarah's not usually a prankster, so this shocked me. Mark is serious about divorce, consulting a lawyer and ignoring Sarah's pleas to reconcile. She even accused him of an affair with me, which is absurd. Mark feels Sarah has changed into someone unrecognizable. She sent Michael a nasty letter, insulting his masculinity and our infertility. Furious, I canceled the expensive baby gifts I'd planned to give her and deleted the baby registry. I also forgot to pay the remaining catering bill, but when I contacted the caterer, they said Sarah was responsible since it was booked in her name. I'm glad I don't have to pay more for someone who disrespected us. I've decided to move on and focus on my life. Update 2. Sarah emailed me, accusing me of being cheap for not paying the full catering bill and claiming I was arrogant due to my family's wealth. She mocked my infertility and appearance, saying Michael married me for money and that I ruined her marriage. Michael deleted the email, furious. We've supported Sarah for years, vacations, financial help for her parents and more, treating her like family. We showed the email to Mark, who was disgusted and shared similar texts from Sarah, including false cheating accusations. He's saving everything for his divorce lawyer. Some suggested Sarah might have a medical issue, but she's always had a temper, even in college. We'll inform her parents about her behavior, but it's their job to get her checked. I'm done with her and focusing on my life with Michael and our dogs. We're currently vacationing in the Maldives, enjoying a break from work. Update 3. Mark and Sarah are officially divorced. Mark's lawyer presented evidence and their prenup, and despite Sarah's efforts, she lost the case. They're working on a co-parenting plan for their daughter. Sarah moved in with her parents, unable to support herself solely through social media. Mutual friends distanced themselves after the baby shower drama. Mark was there for his daughter's birth and is dedicated to her care. Sarah paid the caterer's bill after legal threats. She keeps emailing me, blaming me for her problems, but medical tests show she's healthy, so her behavior is just immaturity. I hope she changes for her daughter's sake. Michael and I have moved on, still enjoying our Sunday dates and strong marriage. To others struggling with infertility, I say it's okay. Life has its own path and love is enough. We're happy together and don't need kids to feel complete. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment, hit subscribe, follow for more, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one. Backhand index pointing right.